Congratulations on completing the exploration stage and making the decision to move forward with installation of MyOutcomes. At this point, I expect your implementation team has formed an idea of what it will look like to adopt MyOutcomes and become a feedback-informed system of care, and has begun the preparations for building a successful implementation strategy. The second module of the On Track program was designed to support this process and provide you with information and tools required for success during the installation and initial implementation stages. The On Track program, based on the implementation of Dr. Dean Fixsen, was developed in collaboration with Dr. Scott Miller. Dr. Miller is the co-developer of the Partners for Change Outcome Management System, subsequently known as Feedback Informed Treatment, or FIT. He's also the founder of the International Center for Clinical Excellence and is a well-known author and speaker. Dr. Miller will now review the key steps required during installation and initial implementation.
Once you complete installation, you enter into the next step, which is initial implementation. You're done with your pilot project. You're ready to implement across the agency and across all programs. You want to use the findings from your pilot project to create structures and policies supportive of feedback-informed care across the entire agency or system of care. You're going to need continued training and supervision in order to be successful. Staff need to be exposed to the ideas initially, as well as on an ongoing basis. During that prior phase, it can be helpful actually to create a training program to introduce the ideas to new staff and new hires. If your agency has even a 20% turnover per annum, we lose our entire staff within 5 years. Create that training program, keep it in place, and then, once again, staff need to be reminded of these ideas on a continuous basis. From my experience, one of the things that successful agencies do is create for opportunities to relearn the basic FIT skills over and over again. One agency that I work with has brown bag lunch sessions. Each week, once a week, one member of the staff is asked to teach some simple skill associated with feedback-informed work, something simple and basic. The lecture takes 10 to 12 minutes. After that, they all eat their lunches together. In addition, supervision sessions are critical during this particular phase. That means time has to be set aside where folks are looking at the outcome data. We're not talking about traditional clinical supervision, but the supervision model outlined in Manual Number 3 and taught at the ICCE trainings each March. One other critical aspect of the initial implementation phase is ensuring fidelity. It's tempting in many instances to think that certain programs need special applications of the model and lots of suggestions for revision to the protocol can be made. During this phase, however, it's best to stick with the model as described in the manuals and in this particular e-learning program rather than alter it. You can get to the alterations, but we're going to do that at a later stage. For now, we're still looking for feedback about how the ideas work within a particular system. How do you know people are following the protocol? You can use the FRIFM. On a routine basis, you can ask the staff to complete it. Most of the agencies that have been successful that I've worked with in the past use the FRIFM on an ongoing basis, perhaps once every 6 to 9 months. One other critical aspect for ensuring fidelity is paperwork. When I travel here and there, I'm always amazed at how serious and responsible therapists are about the paperwork that they're asked to complete. Most paperwork, however, is heavily oriented towards process. In order to ensure a more successful FIT implementation, there needs to be an outcome component. Templates are available for a service delivery agreement and progress note that places outcome at the forefront of the document, that drives the process, that has clinicians and supervisors thinking about, is it working first before describing what they do? Okay, we've mentioned a couple things to ensure fidelity during the initial implementation phase. One of them is the FRIFM. This can be given on a routine basis to check whether or not clinicians are really doing the tools. Number two is the paperwork, ensuring that clinicians are supported in an outcome focus by having a service delivery agreement and progress note that places outcomes at the forefront of the documents. Another way to ensure fidelity is supervision. Is there an opportunity for clinicians to discuss the feedback that they're getting from their particular clients? And are the measures part of that process? Very often, supervision continues as it did prior to the implementation efforts, with focus more on what's happening in the therapy than whether or not it's working and what the measures are telling us. A supervision model is described in detail in Manual number 3 of the Feedback Informed Treatment series. Finally, peer consultation. Many of the agencies that I work with provide an opportunity for clinicians to be offline, meeting with peers, reviewing cases, starting with the outcome first. In other words, clinicians are asked to bring to these consultation hours only those graphs that are known to be off track, that the client's not making progress, or that there are problems in the therapeutic relationship. That starts the process, once again, putting the client's feedback and outcomes at center stage.
So the key components for success during installation and initial implementation are: get your training and coaching programs in place, both for continuous professional development as well as for training future hires. Create small pilots to identify barriers and other issues. Develop processes and protocols that keep feedback and outcome data at the forefront. This is critical for changing your culture and becoming a feedback-informed system of care. Use the FRIFM to monitor implementation process and fidelity to the measures. I'm confident that by now you have begun to realize that MyOutcomes is not just a product, it's a service, where the MyOutcomes staff puts your needs at the top of each day's to-do list. We are here to support you and will be in contact frequently to make sure that you are getting what you need, receive your feedback on what we can do to improve our services. And if you haven't already done so, now would be a good time to read the On-Track Installation and Initial Implementation booklet. It supplements and expands on the points discussed in this video. Additionally, we would like to meet with you to support this process, and we'll be contacting you to set up a conference call with your Transition Oversight Committee. We know that installation and implementation are a costly and critical phase of implementation, and we are here to support you.